Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Plant Systematics class with the discussion of family Brassicaceae. In the previous video, we discussed calyx and corolla of family Brassicaceae. Now, before going further and before starting the discussion of Androsium or stamens, one more point about the corolla is that although most of the genera, almost all genera of family Brassicaceae, they possess corolla, but there are few genera which lack corolla or corolla is absent. So corolla might be absent in Lepidium, and the other common genus is, now this is not Corona, don't worry about it, Coronopus. So Coronopus and Lepidium, these are the two genera in which corolla is absent. Otherwise it is present and it is cruciform corolla. And now the Androsium or stamens, and as we have discussed in its diagnostic characters, if you remember, the Androsium are 6. There is a total of 6 stamens with arrangement of 2 plus 4. If we consider the outer first and the inner later, so it will be 2 plus 4, or you can make it 4 plus 2, whatever you like. But there are two whorls, outer and inner. So the two stamens they are outer and they are shorter, whereas the 4 stamens they are inner and they are longer. So this is the their arrangement in two whorls. The outer whorl consists of two stamens, which are shorter in length, and the 4 inner stamens they are longer in length, and as we have seen in the diagnostic characters of the family, such a condition is known as tetradynamous condition. So let's go through this term once more. Tetradynamous, and that is, we have stamens. Just to recap, just to remind you, so stamens 6 in 2 whorls, and that is outer 2 short and inner 4 long. So this is what we call tetradynamous condition in family Brassicaceae, or generally the tetradynamous condition is such, and this is a characteristic feature or diagnostic feature of the family Brassicaceae, tetradynamous. Now there are green discs present at the base of the stamens. So we have green discs or glands, and they are present at the base of the stamens, at the base of the filaments of the stamen, or at the base of the stamen, whatever you like, at the base of the filaments. Sometimes the filaments of the inner 2 pairs, as we have just seen, there are 6 stamens, 2 outer and 4 inner. The outer 2 are short and inner 4 are long. So the filaments of inner pairs, the longer stamens, they are sometimes connate. And connate is a common term in botany which indicates the union. That is, if, for example, this is filament of the one stamen and this is filament of the other, so sometimes they are connate, they are united like this. So at this point they are united, connate. So these pairs may be united of the inner ones, the four longer inner stamens, and outer pair, since it is only one pair because we have 2 plus 4 arrangement. So the outer pair, the filaments of those pairs filaments. So let's make it more clear. They sometimes may be winged, that is a part of the plant that is expanded, so it is usually known as winged. So for example, this is a normal filament, and in this case now its base is now expanded, now it is called winged. So they may be the filaments, the two outer shorter filaments, or the filaments of the shorter stamens, they may be winged or toothed. But that is not a universal character, it might be there in some genera. Next is the chambers of the anthers, and as we have seen in Apiaceae it was dithecous. So the same case here, bicelled or dithecous. So they are bicelled or dithecous, that is two chambers, and each chamber then contains 2 pollen grains each. So a total of 4 pollen sacs. Or rarely we have unicelled, or both the anthers, they constitute a single chamber, a single theca in which 2 pollen sacs might be present. So this was the dithecous nature, or how many chambers the anthers contain. So mostly it is dithecous. And then the dehiscence, how the anthers open up to release the pollen grains. So dehiscence is by longitudinal slits. The anthers open up longitudinally. So we have anther, these are 2 anthers. So longitudinal slits appear in the anther and the pollen grains are released. So these are longitudinal slits. Next is Gynosium or carpels. So Gynosium or carpel. So Gynosium is bicarpellary. 2 carpels and syncarpus. Both the carpels are united. So bicarpellary, syncarpus, and the ovary is unilocular in the beginning. If you remember when we were discussing its diagnostic characters of the family Brassicaceae, we have seen that the ovary is unilocular. So it is unilocular at first or in the beginning and becomes bilocular later. Becomes bilocular, and if you remember, we already know it, bilocular due to the formation of false septum. So a false septum arises between in the center of the ovary and divides it into two chambers or makes it bilacular due to the formation of false septum. So false septum makes it bilacular. Otherwise, the ovary is unilacular. As far as the placentation is concerned, so placentation is just like we have seen in the diagnostic characters. Placentation is parietal. And just to recap, parietal placentation is the one in which the ovary is polycarpillary and syncarpous. In case of Brassica, it is bicarpillary. So this is one carpel and this is another carpel. So these are two carpels, and this area, these are the fused margins of the carpel. So at this particular point the placenta arises. So let's draw placenta here at the fused margins, and to those fused margins ovules arise like this. So this is what we call parietal placentation. Ovary is polycarpillary, syncarpous, bicarpillary, tricarpillary, whatever the case might be, pentacarpillary, and unilacular. Ovary is mostly unilacular, and the ovules are born, or the placenta are born, on the fused margins of the carpels like here. So this is known as parietal placentation. So the placentation is parietal, and ovules, they are many in each since it becomes bilacular due to the formation of the false septum. So ovules many in each locule. So ovule, there are not two ovules like we have seen in family Apiaceae, one ovule in one loculus. In this case, there are many ovules in each loculus. So the fruit of the family Brassicaceae, the siliqua, it produces a very large number of seeds. So there are many seeds because ovules, they ripe and they form the seeds. So many ovules mean many seeds. Next is the style and stigma. This was the discussion of ovary. So style is long and stigma is bifid. That is, the stigma has two lobes. Now for example, this is ovary, and now we have style, and at the top this is a simple stigma, and we can make it a bifid stigma somewhat like this. So let's give it a different color. So here is the bifid stigma, as you can see. Now the stigma has two lobes, so this is known as bifid. So the style is long and the stigma is bifid. Carpel, as we have just seen, is mostly bicarpillary. However, you will find tricarpillary genera as well, like Dreba and Nasturtium. So Dreba and Nasturtium, these are the two genera in which the carpel is a tricarpillary. Otherwise, the carpel is bicarpillary and syncarpous. It is syncarpous in all the cases, but mostly it is bicarpillary. So this was the discussion of Androsium and Gynosium. Next is the fruit, the seed, and the floral formula and other things about the family Brassicaceae. So that will be discussed in the coming video. So thanks for watching and see you in the next video.